Hi, Tony Kishawi here, and what I've got for you some essential tips if you're teaching Commedia. Like if you're just doing it for the first time. What I would recommend is do not send the students all off to study or research Commedia on the internet. It's too overwhelming. There's so much stuff out there that's, I guess, misleading. Well, I don't mean the information's wrong. What I mean is it fills their head with things that they go, oh, is this what we're going to do? Oh, I've got to be that. And oh, what's that one's name? And so on and so forth. Whereas what I would suggest you do is get the masks. Work with the masks first. Make sure you've got them before you start your unit. And display them in a more, like a respectful way, like put some black or red velvet down over a table and display the masks. Because if you set this ritual up of how you introduce the mask, how you use the masks, is that then they will have respect for them. The worst thing I've seen is that, you bring out a cardboard box and the masks are all in there and they pull them out, they try them on, they run around the room being funny and stuff. And of course, that is the worst thing you can do. It's disrespectful for the masks, and they haven't even created their characters yet. So please don't do that. Always pack them away at the end of every lesson. Do not let them muck around with them just like they're props in the back room. Lock them away. And this will make the experience of performing with the masks much more full, much more, and experiential. A lot of people think, oh, a bit worried about putting on a mask. What's a mask going to make me do? Like the movie, The Mask with Jim Carrey. Well, it is true. When you put on a mask, you're hiding behind the mask. You let the mask live, come alive, and the person underneath finds this, releasing. So some shy students, I find, revel in this behind the mask because, I've actually seen some of the more confident students, they put on a mask and they don't like it. There was one video I made where this girl, she ripped off the mask, threw it on the ground and says, I hate masks. And the reason why, after we got over the shock of her, throwing my equipment around, the reason why she did this is because she was a competent actor. She won many a heart with her acting skills. And so when a mask was put on her, she couldn't use the tricks that she would normally use. And so therefore, I would recommend that she become one of the maskless characters in the Commedia tradition. They've got La Donna, Colombina, there's other like Cavalier, the Lovers, there's many maskless characters. So the more, the more underconfident, the less confident, the ones that are a little bit shy in the normal drama room, they're working with these masks and they go, hey, they can't do this, but I can. And they enjoy the anonymity of being behind the mask and they play low status, which I guess they enjoy. All right, so this is really what Commedia is about. It's about not clever dialogue. Don't grab a script and try and do it because you're tying down the characters. Making short little skits like Lazzi's comic routines, exits and entrances are much more interesting for students to explore because the mask is allowed to play. So in my book, I got it here just in case, in my book I've got the 11 steps of how to introduce Commedia to high school students. And the one main thing I find is that keep the dialogue very, very simple. As I said, 3 or 4 word sentences only for the lower status. They were uneducated back in there, and this is where the clowning comedy comes from, of misunderstanding and getting things wrong when you're given instruction from high status and so on. So the high and low status are like a comic duo. That's how I see them. So don't attempt a full play. That's all I can say. The audience is part of the show. When you're actually doing an assessment, and you finally got them to rehearse and practice the skits and it's all working, you need to actually have an audience. So instead of having, just a couple of assessors watching, invite some other classes in, sit and watch, and they will They will love it, interacting with their fellow students in the school, and they get that heckling going, and they respond in character. That's very important. So no fourth wall in the commedia. They really need to have interactions. That's where the improvisation comes from. Okay, so show them Commedia. See if you can get some video. I'll try and find some links to videos that I found on the internet, but it's really good for them to see what other companies have done. And the students watch that. They see the simple clowning antics that the masks get up to, and they go, I got it. I know exactly what that is. You know, it's very similar to pantomime. I mean, well, pantomime came from Commedia. In fact, I think all theater came from Commedia, but that's another story. Okay, so hopefully that's useful. You know, start with the masks first. Keep it simple. No clever dialogue, or what I mean by that is don't try and do a whole play or Commedia play or something like that. These would be developed over many months. So make it easy if you've only got a short unit within the whole year. Thank you.